Today we have found the most inexpensive 15-inch powered home theater subwoofer from the brand Acoustic Audio. And the question is it any good?
No way!
They're just plain out lying to you.
Oh.
I've searched high and low for the least expensive 15-inch powered home theater subwoofer and tested 2 in previous videos. Check links in the video description. But today I found the least expensive one. The brand is Acoustic Audio. How many of you have heard of that brand? I had not until this video. So let's get it out of the double box here. Of course, we always open the box from the bottom like a pro. Let's take it out and see what it looks like. First, let's look at the accessories. Yes, we have a nice RCA cable here, which is nice in length, about 10 feet or so. We also have a little splitter of 1 male to 2 female. In addition, we have the owner's manual for the Acoustic Audio subwoofers, including the specific one we have today, which is the PSW600-15. And they call it a 15 because there is a 15-inch speaker hidden behind this mesh grill designed to protect it. And you can see the speaker is ribbed for your pleasure.
This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
And it really gives me the vibes of the old home speakers that came with those rack stereo systems like the Pioneer, the Sony, and some of the Sansui, some of the other brands as well. Yeah, it definitely looks like a very inexpensive 15-inch driver, but we'll find out later once we open up the enclosure. Specs include integrated high-efficiency power amplifier with 600 watts peak power, frequency response 22 to 250 Hertz with 99 dB sensitivity at 8 ohm, 15-inch front-firing long-throw woofer with high-rigidity PVA treated cone, signal sensing auto on-off control with 0 to 180 degree phase control switches, bottom slotted port for a full deep bass effect. That's not a slotted port, that is a flared round port. Thank you. As for dimensions, this is one of the smallest of all the ones I've tested at 20.5 inches tall, 18.5 inches wide by 16.5 inches deep, and also the lightest at around 39 pounds or 17.7 kilograms. The built-in amp has functions such as a phase control, 0 or 180 degrees, also has a power on, auto, or off control, in addition to a gain control, minimum to maximum, set it wherever you want to, and that's not really going to matter. And then we have high-level speaker outputs. That's right, use your high-level inputs and they go out to your regular speakers. We also have a crossover, low-pass frequency from 40 to 140 Hertz. We do have a LFE input that comes from your LFE out on your receiver or processor, or we have standard RCA line-level inputs as well. And if you don't have RCAs out, you can use a high-level input, your speaker level, from your amplifier straight into the subwoofer. Also, the power cord is attached, 120 volts, 60 Hertz, approximately 5 feet in length. Those who are paying attention may notice the Dyno Audio 1500 and the Acoustic Audio sub look like they have exactly the same amp. We will find out here in a minute. First, let's listen to some music, see how it sounds. Now, before all these tests, I did do about a day's worth of bass-heavy music on this subwoofer so I could break in the driver, get it all ready for that massive flexing that you don't see. And that's why I'm talking over the bass here, because this speaker does not flex. There is hardly any bass at all coming out. I mean, it is crazily bad. Now, the other subwoofers I've tested, the Dyno Audio Sub 1500 and the Rockville Rock Shaker 15, those aren't anything to write home to mama and tell them you got an awesome subwoofer. But this is literally a joke. I don't even know why I'm making the video, because there is no way that I would recommend this sub. We'll stick around and we'll just go ahead and go through just go through all the other features and find out about the amp and everything. But we also did hook it up in the theater, of course, and try it with some movies. And I can't shake my head enough. Even though I love the movies Jurassic Park, Tron, Top Gun Maverick, and Terminator 2, yeah, this subwoofer is hardly, it really can't be described as a subwoofer. It's a woofer. It goes down to maybe 35 Hertz if you're lucky, and it just doesn't have very good output at all. It did have some booms. It did have some things with the gun going off. You could hear that, but it was nothing that that really shocked me or kind of said, wow, that sounds pretty good. It was really just bad. I mean, I think there's a lot of 8-inch subs out there that would well perform beyond what this sub performs at. So yeah, it's pretty bad. That's all I can say. It's really bad, as a matter of fact. After seeing the plate on the back, knowing that it's probably a copy of the Dayton Audio sub amp that we've already tested, I decided to go ahead and pull it off, and yeah, right off the bat, exactly the same layout, exactly the same transformer, exactly the same components as far as I can tell. But let's go ahead, just for kicks and giggles, and hook it up to the amp dyno, and we'll try it out and see how it does. If you haven't seen these tests before, on the left, the power output in watts, in the middle, the ohm load, on the right, the voltage of the dyno, but you can ignore that because we do have the dyno hooked up to the battery bank.
This here's my favorite part.
Now, since we haven't opened up the sub yet, we don't know if it's an 8 ohm or a 4 ohm driver. Let's try 8 ohms first. Certified using the amp dyno, using a 40 hertz track to 1% distortion, and get ready for this. Yes, my friends, 43 watts. Oops, it jumped to 45 at the end, so do not let me minimize those 2 extra watts. Now let's send a dynamic test, which sends a pulse tone of 40 hertz into the amp, kind of like a kick drum. And yes, we're making the lights dim around here, my friends. 52 watts, 8 ohms dynamic. Next up, we're going to try the 4 ohm test. Again, this amplifier is rated 600 watts max, so surely we'll get anywhere near that, right? Let's try certified 1% distortion, and we get a massive 10% of that. 65 watts at 4 ohms to 1% distortion. But of course, we're going to try the test up to clipping, because you know we're going to get big numbers here. Up to clipping, we're going to get close to that 600, right? No, but we got close to 80. 77 watts up to clipping at 4 ohms with this plate amplifier that's 600 watts max. BS. All right, dynamic, send a pulse tone. 81. Is that all we're going to get? Man, can you believe this? These people is not telling us the truth. Speaking of the truth, here are the results of the test. And if you compare this to the Dayton Audio Sub 1500 I tested recently, it was within like 2 or 3%. So that's within component tolerances. It's basically the same amp board. This one does have an LFE input, but it does have the same 80 watt transformer.
What I use for the toroidal coil
is right here, exactly the same. The Sub-80W, which we think is an 80 watt toroidal transformer 100 VA, uses the 3300 microfarad 50 volt rail caps that we've seen before. Pretty much the same input board, but again, it does have the LFE, whereas the other one doesn't. I tried to pull it off so we could take a closer look at these transistors. Unfortunately, they were glued on the front, so I could not get the model number off those. If you're a tech and know what those are, let us know. Internal airspace, 2.34 cubic feet, or 66.3 liters. And as far as the port goes, it is 3 inches in diameter, 6 inches long with flares at both ends. Feel free to go ahead and let us know what that tuning frequency is if you want to play the game. Speaking of a game, let's take out the 8 screws so we can pull out this massive 15-inch subwoofer and see what it looks like on the back. Surely it's going to be impressive, and apparently not. It does have a vented pole piece. It does have a nice looking dust cap there. Looks to be about a 2-inch voice coil. I wasn't able to get an exact measurement. I tried to look this up on the Goldwood site because this is a Goldwood audio brand, Acoustic Audio is, and Goldwood makes a lot of OEM drivers. They had an 8 ohm version of this, but it had only had an 1.5-inch voice coil. And I think this one's a little bigger. I think this is a 2-inch. And but here's all the different components. It does have 1/2-inch MDF there on the sub enclosure, which kind of stinks. Pros and cons. First up, the good stuff. It is inexpensive. It has a 15-inch driver, uses a Class AB amp, has an auto on feature, an LFE input, high-level input and output. But literally, my friends, please don't buy this. I don't think it's available anymore on Amazon anyway because I didn't see it, but it has a 70 watt amp, not 600, 1/2-inch MDF enclosure, attached power cord, no threaded inserts. It's not really a subwoofer. Somebody stole your granddad's 15-inch speaker out of his tower speakers and hooked it up, called it a subwoofer, and I literally cannot recommend it. Hope you guys enjoyed my thorough analysis of the Acoustic Audio PSW600-15. Speaking of 15, 4 ohm, 15 inch subwoofer here. Not a subwoofer. It's literally a woofer. Check links in the video description. I will have links to the other home audio subwoofers and subwoofer amplifiers that I've tested in case you want to see all those compared. But as usual, we're going to do some more testing here. 2.6 ohms for this amp. Let's find out what it does. Certified to 1% distortion at 2.6 ohms. We get, hold your horses, 64 watts. Not very good. Let's reset the dyno for the uncertified test, which takes us up to the clipping point. See if we can bust 80 watts. Can we? Yes, we can. 86 watts at 2.67 ohms. What about when we send that pulse track of 40 hertz into the amplifier to find out what kind of power it does dynamically? And we are right on the verge of triple digits, but we're not going to make it. 99 watts, 2.67 dynamic. But we reset the dyno. Let's just try 2 ohms because we just like that. We're going to try it and find out, can we get 100 watts? And we can. We got 102 watts and the lights were dimming in the Wilson Audio Labs. Till next time, this Big D, I'm out of here.